Hi everybody, Mark here with Camino Tranquilo, and we're up to another question and answer. I've got my list of questions here from the past week. Having a great time here. I'm in Triacastela, just did our little 4-day travel update. For the most part, it's been fantastic. Got caught in the rain a little bit, but nothing too terrible. So for our question and answers, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below, or shoot them to me in form of an email at askmeacaminoquestion@gmail.com, and I will get back to you privately and probably steal something for the videos here. I just want to say that I've had a couple of people reach out asking about if I would help them plan a Camino, and I'm more than happy to help you with the broad outlines. But honestly, there's a lot of content out there, and if you've come to the sewer levels of YouTube where I live and do my production, looking for stuff, I'm probably not the best source. There's a lot of other people that do very basic stuff, but I'll tell you what, I really never thought I would have enough people watching to really justify it. But what I will do is, as soon as I get back in the States here in a couple weeks, I'll just sit down and do a beginner guide to the Camino, A to B, or A to Z, A to B, A to Z, what to consider. I'll just do a really big, broad stroke so you guys kind of have an idea. So if you're new to the Camino and you're new to the channel, hello, good to have you. Again, I'm in Triacastela. I'll kind of pan you around. Beautiful little mountain valley. I'm trying to keep you in the shade because it's very sunny today, and I found a little statue. I'm actually hiding behind a statue of a pilgrim on a little river walk park. I'm sorry if you guys get seasick from me waving around this thing. If you start to feel seasick, please wave your hand and we'll pull over. We'll get you some ginger ale or something and calm your tummy down, and then we'll keep going. So, okay, let's get to the Q&As. Q&A number, or question number one. Somebody was concerned about Sundays. If they arrive on a Sunday or as you're going through Sundays, are things open? For the most part, yeah. Markets may have a little more quiet time on Sundays, but Sunday is a big day for Spanish families to get out, go to restaurants, have some lunch, go to church, go to the parks. It's a big day. I actually run into more trouble with things on Mondays and Tuesdays. They tend to close up. Shops and bars and restaurants may be closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. So just use your Google Maps. Google Maps is by far the quickest, easiest way to figure out if something you need is open near you. Just pull that bad boy up and give it a look. I would say avoid Apple Maps. I know that's a bit of a meme, but there are actually albergues that say do not use Apple Maps to get to us because you'll get lost. So, so yeah, Sundays are fine. I really never have much problem with it. Number two, this is kind of a two-for question. I'll split this one up a little bit. With all the Caminos, how much Spanish, French, and Portuguese do you speak? My two primary languages are English and broken English. My Spanish is atrocious. The only thing worse than my Spanish is my French, which is in some parts of France is still considered a cultural hate crime for me to try to speak it. I speak no Portuguese at all other than thank you, and I can identify my favorite pastry, a nata, in Portuguese. I'd say it. Once I get back, I have a year and a half to pick up some Portuguese. All joking aside, I speak a little bit of French, very, very, very little. I can't have a conversation. And I have a little bit of Spanish. I can ask for things. I can answer questions. I cannot hold a conversation. I basically speak traveler's Spanish. I can read a little better than I can speak. Spanish is spoken so quickly, it is very difficult for me to pick up what I'm trying to communicate with somebody. So there's lots of times I can actually express what I need or express my part of a conversation, but it's very hard for me to pick up the other side of the conversation. So, and I've only used Duolingo. I kind of live in the middle of nowhere, so language school is out of the question for me. And, if I was going to move here, I probably would invest in a language school. But for the Camino, English is kind of a common language that is used by the French and the Germans and the Spanish and the Koreans and the Chinese and the Italians, the everybody's. So you can get by. I used to joke that you can get through a Camino just being able to ask for a bed, a beer, and a bathroom. And that's still kind of the truth, although, you know, absolutely, the more Spanish you can pick up, the easier this is going to be. And the more pleasant it is, because you're not just then a tourist watching the lifestyle around you. You can engage and understand a little better what's going on. And that is one of my regrets for my Camino trips, is I don't have a better grasp of the language. So the second part of that question was day pack list. If you were to forward your pack with Jacotrans or somebody, what should you carry in your day pack? Well, that's kind of up to you. I've got my little satchel here, and basically what I would carry in my satchel for that would be my little first aid kit, mainly because it has Tylenol and a little bit of Imodium in it in case I need either one of those. A liter bottle of water, a little apple or two, because I like munching on apples when I'm walking along. A raincoat if it's going to look like rain, and I always carry my tech gloves with me and my lightweight gloves, because in the mornings my fingers get cold. When it's around 30, you know, high 30s, low 40s, and the wind is blowing, my fingers get cold. The rest of me is fine, but my fingers get bad, so I carry those. And always carry my toilet paper pack, my bathroom pack, and my off-trail bathroom pack, which we talked about in the bathroom episode. I got to say, I've still not used the off-trail pack, but even here in the late stages of the Camino in April, I'm running into about every third bathroom does not have paper. So if you need paper, and I've been checking whether I need to or not. I've just been checking to kind of keep a tally. So definitely keep your toilet paper kit on you. And if you haven't watched the episode on Let's Go to the Bathroom, go ahead and watch that. You see how I just pack that stuff. That's no big deal. But the bathrooms have been clean. Everything's been really nice. But back to my day pack. Other than that, if you want to throw in a little bit of sunscreen, you want to throw in, a extra hat or a bandana or something, whatever you're comfortable carrying with you. There's really no right or wrong to that. It's whatever's going to make you most comfortable as you're going throughout the day. And I see people with smaller backpacks. I mean, I have a little 3-liter satchel here that works fine, or would work fine. So whatever you need. The number 3 question. This was an interesting one. I did a little research on this. Somebody wrote me and said, hey, I have some raging sinus issues, and I take pseudoephedrine, which is, in Europe, it's very hard or impossible. It's a controlled substance. You have to have a prescription. What can I get when I'm there, or can I fill my prescription there? How do I go about this? Easiest answer is just take it with you. Apart from narcotics or really controlled substances, things that people go to jail over, you can take pseudoephedrine with you to Spain, into the EU. It's not that big a deal. And as I've said before in some of my other stuff, when you get past TSA, there ain't nobody checking your bags when you come into the EU. You're just processing through, getting your stuff, and you're going on your way. There's not a giant customs thing. Now, there is a little bit of a new thing where they take your fingerprints and they photograph you. By the way, take your glasses off, because they don't have any signs up, but the machine hates sunglasses. I had a little bit of an issue with that this time. But yeah, if you need something like pseudoephedrine, just take it with you. If you're really concerned, leave it in the original prescription bottle or the original packaging. And if there's any question, you can always show somebody, look, I'm here for a month and a half. I'm on Camino. This is for this. You're not going to have any problem with that. Trying to get prescription refilled here is kind of a nightmare, because they have to liaison with your doctor's office. You can maybe get in to see a doctor here to get a new prescription, but then you're just looking at a whole lot of pain in the butt. So just bring whatever you need with you, or you can walk into any pharmacy, talk to the pharmacist and say, hey, I have sinus issues. I need something for the stuffiness and the pain. they're most likely going to have an over-the-counter thing that's going to work for you. Personally, when I hit the EU for the first 2 days, I am stuffy, and I have done the exact same thing. I've walked into a pharmacy and said, hey, can I have something for, to help out with this? And they've given me some stuff. I have no idea what it is, but it did work. So yeah, just do that. Make it a little easier on yourself. Okay, somebody asked me about other trails in Europe. I think she was asking specifically about Slovakia. So the Camino trails all, intermesh up and eventually go to Santiago. So there are a lot. As a matter of fact, I'll put this little map right here. This shows all of the major trails through Europe, and there are more than that. If you, sorry, gotta adjust this. If you get online and you just Google or search up, woo, a little bit seasick there. If you just search up Camino trails in Europe, you're going to see a full list. This website right here is one of the best. It's what most of my Spanish friends use to negotiate the different Caminos. It has a great breakdown of all the different Camino routes. So if you have any, you want to see if there's stuff in the country maybe your family came from, or you want to do something that's a bit off the beaten trail, there is not going to be the infrastructure that there is for the stuff here in Spain, or even the minor routes here in Spain can be a little challenging. But certainly take a look and see what you can find. I think doing some stuff in other countries would be really interesting. I know of one person that a couple years ago started at down on the tip of Italy and made it all the way to Santiago. Pretty cool. Number 5. This was a great one. Gent emailed me or commented in the comment section, where else he'd comment. Not a wine drinker, but wants to know if there is bourbon available in Spain. Yes, there is bourbon and whiskey available. It is very common. Most bars are going to have something. It's not like the States or other places where there's a big selection, but yeah, you can definitely find bourbons and whiskeys. Matter of fact, the first time I ever tried Suntory, Japanese whiskey, was here in Spain. So yeah, there's some interesting things to explore. I want to say the other thing that I've seen here that I've only seen once, and I bought a bottle of it at home, was one of the only whiskeys to come out of Mexico, Abasolo. It's a little rough, but some neat stuff. So anyway, yeah, just dig around the bars, have a great time exploring. It's always an adventure finding new tipples when you're traveling to another country. Number 6, I forgot my credential. Darn it. Okay. Somebody asked, when you get to Santiago and you're going to get your Compostela, do you get to keep your pilgrim's passport with all your stamps in it? And the answer is absolutely you do. It is one of the most cherished souvenirs of a Camino experience. You definitely get to keep them, and it's great fun to go back and, in the cold of winter, you're sitting around drinking some colacao, hot chocolate by the fire, going through your credential and think of all the places that you had great times at. They are really great memory keys. Something I strongly recommend, if you're going to be starting in Saint Jean, get a credential there and use that credential until the front of it is full. Do not put any stamps on the back. They're two-sided. Some of them are one-sided, some are two-sided. If you have one of the two-sided ones, and I think the ones from the Saint Jean office, yeah, I think they're the two-sided ones. Anyway, only put stamps on the front. Get another credential. They're widely available. You can find them at most churches, tourist office, pilgrims offices. Heck, even some of the albergues will have them. Start another one and fill that up. And if you were like me, my first few Caminos, I was getting them from every bar. If there was a dog walking along the road and he had a stamp, I would get the stamp from him. That's almost a joke, but there was a mule who had his own stamp, and I have a stamp from the mule, which was awesome. Clyde and I both got stamps. No, I'm sorry, it was me, Ferd, and Donna got stamps from the mule. Yeah, the very first one. So, fill up the front of that one. And if you need a third one, get a third one and fill up the front of that one. Don't put anything on the back where it's hidden. Then when you get home, take them to a frame shop or buy a frame big enough where you can put them all out in a big poster style and hang it on the wall. And you've got something to remind you of your Camino each time you walk by that little chunk of wall. It's really cool. It looks great. If you do take it to a frame shop, make sure the glass or plexi that they put on it is UV, not safe, but UV preventative, because the cheap inks they're using in these ink pads, they will fade over time. But if you get conservation grade glass, like they put on pastels and some other pieces, not pastels, some pieces of art, it'll make the ink stay good a lot longer. But yeah, hang on to those credentials. They are so much fun. I love mine. Weirdly, mine all stay in a stack right in my bedside table, or my little writing desk that's next to the bed. Oh yeah, so we're heading to the last one, but this is a multi, so we'll just grind through this real quick. What changes have I seen since the last Camino? A few of my favorite places are closed. One of my favorite albergues in Las Herrerias is now closed. Now, they might just be closed until May. I did look around, but it looks pretty abandoned. One of the albergues that Clyde and I stayed in the very first time, I passed it yesterday, it is now closed and completely boarded up. I'm kind of sad because it was a very pleasant little place. We sat and drank beers with our German friends, Thomas and Svanya, and watched cow. We watched a cow parade go by. It was kind of fun. So yeah, there's some little things like that. Other than that, the biggest positive changes would be things like albergues being on booking.com. Being able to just get a simple bed on booking.com is really nice. And the ease and use of the WhatsApp helper on things like Wise Pilgrim app, where you can use the WhatsApp helper to, even if you don't speak Spanish, you could go in, send a form, basically a form request for a bed or room, whatever your vibe is for your Camino. You give them the date, you give them the number of people, you give them whether you want a bed or room, whatever. It sends off, it pings to them, you get a response back, that's your reservation. It makes it a whole lot easier. And I know that for some that takes part of the charm out of the Camino, but you know, since COVID, we're pushing 500,000 people complete the Camino, and that's just the people that are getting a Compostela in Santiago. That's not all of the Spanish families or French families or whoever that are just walking. I've been walking with dozens of pilgrims who are on a spring vacation, and they're just walking from like Astorga to Sarria or something. So that doesn't include that 500,000. That's not including them. That's just people that are getting their Compostelas. And that's weighted a little bit more for the people who just do the last 100 kilometers from Sarria in, but still, I mean, there's a lot of people. So making sure you don't have to fight for a space is not a bad thing. Just don't abuse the privileges or abuse the technology and book a bunch of stuff and then figure out where your friends are going and go there and just leave a bunch of bookings dangling. Don't do that. I mean, be cool about it. Is there anything I have had to buy here that I could have or should have? Sorry, my hand's cramping up from holding this thing. That I should have or could have brought from home. And the answer is yes. I covered this a couple of days ago. I always pack my regular shoelaces in when I do Camino. I change my shoelaces out for elastic lock laces that I got used to using for running, because it's kind of nice when your feet swell, they automatically adjust but still hold tension across the vamp of the foot. Really comfy stuff. I use them around the farm on my work shoes. Unfortunately, coming down hills, they don't really work well for me. The architecture of my foot is such that I get some toe touching in the front of the toe box, even with the big generous toe boxes on my Ultras. So I typically, when I hit to this, you know, in Astorga, I would normally change out to my the laces that came with my shoes. I completely forgot. So I went to the Camino shop in Astorga, bought a great pair of laces, laced them in, and put my lock laces in the little cardboard box and put those in my backpack. And yeah, things have been great. Haven't had any issues with that. Other than that, you know, when you get on Camino, as long as you've got some soap, some deodorant, you can get yourself some food, you got a place to sleep. Yeah, there's not a whole else personally that I really need to pick up. Even things like this, I don't carry a notebook. What I did was, sorry about this, guys. I grabbed one of the envelopes from the luggage forwarding company, tore it open, turned it inside out, and I'm using it as a notepad for today. So, like I said, sorry, Jacotrans. You guys are awesome. She also asked about the dry socks that I used. The dry socks from the good folks at Randy Sun. They're a very different. They're not a Gore-Tex. They're some magical thicker fabric. I wore them for several days just to see if they're comfortable, and they are great. And the other day when I got caught in the rain, walking into Villafranca, yeah, I got a pretty good soaking. I had, my feet were perfectly dry. They took a little longer to dry out, or at night, not my feet, the socks, than I wanted to. But, you know, I'm sold on them. They're inexpensive. Again, they're from Randy Sun, and they are just a waterproof sock. They didn't get sloppy. They didn't stretch out when they got wet. So yeah, I'm calling those a pretty positive win. Now, it wasn't a hard driving rain. I do want to get home and try these out. I don't think I'm going to have any more rain for the rest of the trip, the way the forecast is looking. But, you know, I'm over the mountains, and the further I go that way, the more weird the weather gets. It's kind of weird. That way, the weather is a little bit warm, is a little bit cooler, sorry. That way, as I go, I'm going to be hitting orange trees, and there's a couple of places that have orange trees. There's some palm trees. It's an odd microclimate up there. Glacia is a little hard to read sometimes. They have tons of eucalyptus trees, which is kind of neat. I passed my first one a couple of days ago back there, and there haven't been any more since then. But yeah, things are going good. So that is our Q&A for this week. Again, if you have any questions, no matter if you think I've probably covered them before on the channel, please feel free to ask them. If you're a veteran, a beginner, anything in between, if you're planning, you're just starting to think about it, any questions you have, please feel free to drop me a line, and I will do my best to help you with my learned wisdom. And if not, I'm just going to make up some stuff and tell you. You won't know till you get here. Then you're trapped on the Camino, and I'll just delete my YouTube channel when you start yelling at me. So anyway, thanks guys for watching, and I will see you. Well, I'll see you for another question and answer in a week, but I'll see you for a trip update here in about 3 or 4 days. So maybe Puerto Marin. I don't know. So anyway, I'll talk to you later, guys.